What is up, everybody? No Chin Deluxe here with another League of Legends commentary. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm not going to give you a straight up gameplay. I want to talk about jungle pathing. So in patch 8.10, Riot made some changes to the jungle that were pretty extreme. They changed the scuttle crab, which I know has been a huge hot topic. I've talked about it in some of my previous videos, and it's also obviously being talked about on Reddit and the forums and everything else. And basically the way they rearranged the experience in the jungle means that junglers can no longer get a level 3 as quickly just by doing 2 buffs and a camp. They did that so that way junglers can't just go get a quick level 3 and then go gank a level 2 laner. And so I think they were good changes, but everyone seems to be struggling a little bit adapting to the new jungle path options. And I know it's frustrating when you're used to doing things a certain way in the jungle and suddenly they change it. I know with the first game I played in patch 8.10, I didn't even realize that you couldn't get level 3 by doing 2 buffs in a camp anymore. And I was like, wait, did I just miss something? I was really confused, you know? So what I want to do today is I want to look at some of the new options for jungle paths in order to get a level 3. And also I want to talk about how to avoid being invaded by a strong level 2 jungler. So like Xin Zhao is very popular right now. Graves is making a huge comeback. Kha'Zix is pretty powerful. Basically anybody who can invade you at level 2 and beat you is strong right now. So when you're playing something like Nocturne or Vi or a tank like Sejuani, obviously you can't fight level 2. You're not going to be that great. I mean, Nocturne's a pretty good duelist, but not at level 2, especially against a Xin Zhao. Xin has stuff like a empowered auto attacks on his Q. He can knock you up with his Q, and then he can get attack speed from his E, and he can also slow you with his E. So it's almost like he has 4 different abilities in only 2. So that's why he's so strong right now. And so what I'm kind of looking for is ways to do my early jungle pathing to avoid level 2 invades, but also get my level 3 as quickly as possible, so that I can have more ganking opportunities later. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to first look at what camps we have to take in order to get a level 3. So we're going to be doing a little bit of math. Hopefully that doesn't scare you too much. Then I'm going to take you to an interactive map where we can look at some of our pathing options in order to get our level 3 and how we can gank and also avoid being invaded level 2. And then finally I'm just going to take you into a custom game where we're going to try it all out and see how it works. So let's get started. So the first thing I have on my screen right here, hopefully you can see this, is just have the League wiki up on the screen here. This is just a table of how much XP we need in order to reach levels 1 through 18. So as you can see here, it says to reach level 1, obviously we start the game as level 1, so it's 0. So in order to reach level 2, we need a total of 280 XP. And then this is the magic one that we want to look for, is level 3. How do we get there? We need a total of 660 XP. So let me take you to a calculator real quick. So let me just kind of break down the different XP for the camps. So the easy way to remember it is that pretty much all of the camps level 1 are going to be 115 XP. That is everything except for the Krugs. And the Krugs are, I have my little cheat sheet here. The Krugs will give 247 XP at level 1, and that's when you kill the whole camp. But there's a special rule. They give a 30% reduction in XP the first time they're taken. And I think that was implemented in order to keep laners like bot lane from taking the Krugs early to get an XP advantage in lane. So they spawn later. I think they spawn at like 141, something like that. And then they also give 30% reduction in XP. So they give 172 at level 1. But we're not going to talk about them at first, so don't worry about that. Just keep in mind that all the other camps, so the Rift Scuttler, the Gromp, the Buffs, the Wolves, the Raptors, all give a total of 115 XP to start. So this is the way that the game worked in patch 8.9, or basically everything previous to 8.10. Normally you would start by taking one of your buffs. So if say we're on blue side, we're going to be taking our red buff. We're going to get leashed by our bot lane, right? So the red buff gives a total of 115 XP. I think I'll just use my keyboard here instead. Now, there's also something that happens where you get 120 bonus XP for the first large monster that you kill. So that gives you an extra there. And then also remember we're getting a 50 XP bonus from our jungle item. So altogether, this gives us 285 XP. If you remember our chart here, we need 280 to reach level 2. We're getting 285, so therefore when you kill your first buff, you're getting level 2. So that hasn't changed. So here's the different part. Normally we would do something like, so again, if we're on blue side, we would do buff, wolves, buff. So we take our wolves, again, they're 115. plus the 50 from the machete or the jungle item that you have. That gives us 450. And then we would take our blue buff, which would be another 115 plus another 50 from the bonus. We're at 615. Now here's the important part. So if we look back here, we need the magic number of 660 in order to reach level 3. So that's what changed. That's why it's no longer possible to reach level 3 by going buff camp buff anymore. So this is the part that we need to figure out. So the way the game is set up right now, you're going to be level 2 by the time you do buff camp buff, which means you need to take an additional buff, or sorry, an additional camp in order to get over that 660 mark. And this is usually when the level 2 invaders are going to come and they're going to try to harass you in your jungle. So if we take an additional camp, we should be able to get the number, which means we would have to get, scuttle crab or a grump. But the problem here is that now if we go red, wolves, blue, now we're running around trying to get a scuttle crab or we're trying to get our grump at level 2. And the enemy jungler can just run in level 2 and start either kill us at the scuttle crab or kill us at the grump. Or I've also seen them ward my jungle and try to use the blast cone to hop over while I'm trying to do wolves or something like that. Sometimes they come early before you even reach your buff. So that's what we're trying to kind of solve today: is how do we avoid these level 2 invades, and also how can we get level 3? Obviously, you don't want to be wandering around your jungle trying to get level 3 when they can just level 2 invade you. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Alright, so here we are on our interactive Summoner's Rift map. This is a really cool tool that I found at gametactic.org. You should totally check it out and support them in any way you can. I think this is really cool. They're providing this all for free. So here's what we're going to use to look at some of our pathing options. So I'm going to start with just taking a look at what our normal jungle route would be. So before patch 8.10, we would normally start at our bot lane. Again, this is on blue side. We'll have to talk about red side as well. So if we're starting on blue side, we would normally get our bot lane to leash for us. And then we would go to our wolves, and then we would go to our blue, and then that would give us the level 3. That is no longer possible. So we need to figure something else out. If we do it this way, this is what's happening right now. So, right, if you take a buff and wolves and blue, what the enemy laner is doing, let's just say, we'll just throw somebody in there. Let's call it Xin, right? So if Xin is over here, Mr. Xin, he's getting leashed by his bot lane. What basically they're doing is they're going to take this, probably go to red, and then just come over to invade you right away at your blue. There's also the possibility that they're starting at their red and just going straight in, but you're not there yet, so they could be, I think that's a little riskier, because if you catch them, if you walk into the jungle and they're already fighting your blue buff, they're already distracted and taking damage from that. So I think it's a little easier to call for help and get them out of your jungle at that point. I think what they want to do usually is they want to wait until you're taking your blue buff and you're taking damage, and then they just walk in full health. The other option is they might come in and do the scuttle crab or something like that. But this is basically what's happening, right? So we want to try to avoid this situation. Normally, if we take a wolves buff, we're going to be level 2 now. So this isn't an option. We don't want to be, wandering up here for scuttle crab or just trying to do a grump while they're doing this invade. So we definitely want to try to avoid this whole situation. So, oops, I lost my icons. Not that they're that important, but I like them. All right, so instead, here's what I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking at starting at blue side. So assuming that, let's just say again, it's a Xin, he's very popular. He's starting his blue side, getting leashed by his bot lane. We can take our blue buff, which gets us our level 2. And then remember, we need 2 additional camps. We're assuming we're going to run to our red buff as soon as possible. But we need both buffs plus an additional 2 camps now in order to reach level 3. So let's look at some of our options of how we can do this. So we could run up here and get scuttle crab. Now remember, scuttle crab doesn't spawn. Here, let's just write this in here. Doesn't spawn until 2 minutes. So we have to keep that in mind. So if you're getting leashed top lane, then you're going to get to this a little too early. So my recommendation is actually to not get a leash at all and just do blue buff. Pretty much any champion in the game, any jungle champ can solo blue buff pretty well. And this has an additional factor to it, which is that your bot lane will go to lane on time, your top laner will go to lane on time, and you don't reveal your position of where you started. So unless they invade you and get some deep wards or whatever, they're not going to know where you started. So this also is a really good tactic to just confuse the enemy jungler. I've already tried this once in game. and it worked really well. I actually really confused them, and they suddenly started, like, the mid laner started going and dropping deep wards at my blue because they were trying to figure out where the heck did he start, because everybody came to lane on time. So it was really effective in that, and it made them have to leave their lane and go start dropping wards and stuff, which is really good. It gives your laner an XP advantage by doing that. So anyway, we can take our scuttle crab here. That will give us 115 experience. We can also go this way and take our gromp. So that would be our 2 camps, right? And then we could run all the way to our red and take that as well. We can also get wolves along the way. That's fine. So some other options would be you could take blue, and then we could just go gromp, and then go wolves, and then go red. That would also give us a level 3 as well. And remember, he's going to be, if he's getting leashed by his bot lane, he's probably going to either be doing, wolves first and then his red, or he's just going to go straight to his red and try to invade. Or another option is he might just get level 2 and he might just try to go gank bot lane. Whatever the option is, the fact is we're just trying to avoid him, right? So by starting topside, we're just keeping our options open for, if he tries to invade us up here, we're going to be gone, right? We're going to be getting our red buff here. So here's the idea that I have that I like the most, and that is I like to do my blue buff unleashed, by the way. So I'm not getting a leash, which means I'm doing it a little bit slower, but by doing that, I'm actually going to arrive at the river by about 1 minute 50 seconds. This allows me to actually run over here, and I can drop a ward right here. That allows me to see the invade coming. By the time I drop the ward, I can now go take the scuttle crab, okay? And then after I take the scuttle crab, I'm going to come down here to my gromp, or you don't even have to do the gromp if you don't want to. If you really want to try to rush bot or whatever, you can just go straight to wolves instead. But what this does is it gives us vision here, and with the scuttle crab plus vision here, it basically lights up the whole top side of the jungle, so you can see if they're trying to invade, which is really helpful because you can get vision on them and you can warn your top laner that they're going to come top, or you can warn your mid laner. Here's the other great thing about this is if he does try to invade, now you're wasting his time because he's just running through your empty jungle that you already took. So this is a really good way to avoid that and also to waste some of his time as well. So if we go up here, you're going to waste a little bit of time running around, usually during the 10 seconds that I have before Scuttle Crab spawns. What I like to do is go drop a ward. You can drop it here. You can also drop it in your bush right here so that if they try to come invade this way, you'll see them coming through the bush. But usually, if you put it at the entrance, it's really nice because you can see whether they're going to run this way to try to see if the Scuttle Crab is up, or you can even see them if they're going to try to do a level 2 gank on mid. So really good spot for vision. So at this point, we're going to be, let's see, we're going to drop Scuttle Crab and one additional camp, probably go to wolves as well. And then we're going to go to our red. So that's going to give us level 3. After we have level 3, we have a new option. So we can either take raptors. We can just do a full clear, right? We can go and take raptors or krugs. Here, I'll even draw us a little bit of a, let's see if we can do like a little question mark, right? Nice. So we can either have an option of going to do raptors. We can do krugs. You can also just go from wolves to raptors and then do the red buff. That's fine too. The other thing I like to do is maybe go this way and take the second Scuttle Crab. And then from there, we have another option point. We should be level 4 at this point. And wait, do we have level 4? Let's find out. Okay, so let's go back to our calculator. So we're taking our blue buff, plus we're getting the bonus XP, plus we're getting the machete. Okay, then we're taking Scuttle Crab plus bonus XP from Machete, plus we're taking, let's say we take Gromp plus Wolves. We're at 780. And what do we need for level 4? We need 1140 to get level 4. So then if we take our red buff, we're not 1140. We could take the Scuttle Crab. We're not quite there. So we need an additional camp. So we're doing blue buff, Scuttle, Gromp, Wolves, red buff. We still need an additional camp, so that way if we throw in Raptors, we will be level 4 by the time we do all that. So that's essentially doing a full clear. So we're basically, let me just go over it again. We do blue buff, we do Scuttle Crab, Gromp, Wolves, Raptors. I'd probably go straight to Raptors from the Wolves, take the red, go get the Scuttle Crab. At this point, we have an option. We can now look for a gank mid, or we can actually look for a gank bot. Now, if there are no ganks available there, then what I would probably do is I might go maybe through here and ward something, and then come and do my Krugs, and then back. So that's kind of the route I'm looking at doing. This gets me, if I do a full clear, this gets me level 4. If I skip 1 or 2 camps along the way, remember I need 2 buffs and 2 camps to get level 3, so I have to have those somewhere. So if we want to skip Gromp, we could do that. We could do buff, blue buff, scuttle crab, wolves, and then red buff, which would give us level 3, at which point we can look for a gank there if we need to. But what this does is it helps junglers like Nocturne avoid the level 2 and also get his level 3, which he really can't gank unless he has his E, which is his fear. So we need that CC in order to gank. Otherwise, you're just going to be walking up into lane, throwing a Dustbringer at somebody, and really doing nothing. So this is kind of the path I'm looking at for blue side. Let's switch it around and look at some options for the red side now. Alright, so the red side is a little more tricky because I'll show you why. So let's say we're starting there. Again, we'll use our Xin to put here. So red side's a little more tricky because we don't have... So remember in the blue side, we were able to get Scuttle Crab and Gromp. We have the Gromp here, which is a pretty easy camp to take. And then we have Wolf. So we have 3 camps available right away. Red side's a little more difficult because you have the Krugs, which are up here. That's kind of out of the way. And then you have Raptors, which aren't that easy to take when you're level 2, especially as Nocturne. He's pretty squishy. So that's kind of a difficult camp to take. You're also going to take a lot of damage from Krugs as well. And then in order to get the Scuttle Crab, you have to really go out of your way and away from your jungle and really kind of get into the blue side in order to take that. So it's a riskier start. And remember, we need 2 buffs and 2 camps in order to get level 3. So if we do something like red buff and then... Say we do like red buff and then wolves and then blue, we're still going to need to take either Gromp or the Scuttle Crab in order to get level 3. That's perfectly viable. We can do that. But then our options are kind of limited after that. So before, remember, we were able to take all that stuff, get level 3, and then actually have an option to go for level 4 if there's just no ganks available. Really, we're kind of screwed when we get here because we have to basically either gank here or gank here. But what happens if those ganks aren't available? Well, basically, we're going to have to like path all the way back around here to get our Raptors and then go all the way around here to get our Krug. It's just like really inefficient, right? So what I would do instead, I think, is I would probably take the, take the red buff, and then I would actually, I think here's what I would do. I would probably try to take the red buff. I would smite it early. I would go here, take the crab, and this is kind of risky, but again, if he's going to be down here, he's going to be doing buff, and then he might even go for crab or something, or he's going to go buff, wolves, buff, and then he's thinking of invading me. Or he's going to go for crab or something like that. So if I go red straight to crab, then hopefully he would be busy doing wolves or Gromp or something like that before he gets to the crab. I might be able to take this before he grabs it. So that's an option. By the time I get level 2, I can do the Raptors as long as I have smite up. So in order to do this path, maybe what I would do is I wouldn't smite the red at all. I would just try to finish it as quickly as possible. And then I would have red buff. I'd probably have to pop a pot at that point, but I would have red buff, and then I would go get the crab. The crab would give me a lot of HP and mana back, so I would be able to heal a lot, especially if I pop a pot. I'm going to be pretty much full health by the time I come back to Raptors. My smite will be available. Nocturne can take the Raptors pretty quickly at level 2 if you have smite available, so I would probably smite the big one, take that, and then just go and do a full clear. I would take this, and at this point I'm going to have level 3, and if I want to, I can just get buff, Gromp, and then if the crab's available, I could get level 4 off of that as well, I believe, right? So, and then at that point I can look for my gank here or here, and if there's nothing available, then I can really just back, and then I would probably go and take Krugs and start the whole process over again. So red side's a little trickier, but it's still doable, and I still think this is better, so that way you avoid getting invaded at your red. I've kind of found that champions like Xin usually don't invade me at my red at level 2. A lot of times they just go straight top lane for a level 2 gank, or they'll do like a level mid or something like that, or a level 2 mid gank or something like that. Or I think this is probably even more popular, is they just get their level 2 and then they just go and do like a bot gank as well. So Either way, I think you're a little safer on the red side. But if you're on the blue side, it's going to be a little trickier. It seems like I get invaded more and trying to do my own blue buff. So let's look at some of these routes in action now. I'm just going to load up a custom game and we'll just run through it real quick so you can see how it works. Alright, so this is a custom game. I am just on the blue side here. We're going to start with our blue golem here. As I said, I probably wouldn't get a leash here. I think the blue golem doesn't do a lot of damage. It's pretty easy to kill him yourself. What I do is I smite as soon as it makes sense. The smites are right here. I would probably just smite that. What this does is it gets your smite on cooldown, so that way it's ready the next time you're going to do like a hard camp like wolves or raptors. So I'm just going to kill this. This gets me my level 2. So notice I'm going to run up here, and it's not 2 minutes yet, so the crab's not up. So I can run over here, drop a ward just to watch for that. You'll notice that I didn't get my E second, even though the E can help me do more damage to this crab. And that's because I'm not going to be level 3, remember, until I kill another camp. So I'd rather have my W up for the Gromp or the wolves rather than have a kind of a useless E, which is only good for the crab. So I'm going to kill this guy. And then we still won't be level 3 yet. So we need to do one more. So notice now that I have the ward placed there, notice we have the entire vision set up for the river. So if we're going to get invaded, we'll see it coming. I'm just going to do Gromp next. So if he comes through here, I'll see him coming way ahead of time, unless he comes through his tri-bush, which I don't think he would. So if he's coming, I can definitely start assist pinging already, or I can danger ping mid lane that he's about to get ganked. Just really good vision set up there. And of course, if he runs over the scuttle crab, I'll see that as well. So remember, we need 2 buffs and 2 camps in order to get our level. Or no, sorry, not 2 buffs, 2 camps. Yeah, we do. So we need. I'm sorry, no, I messed that up. We need a buff and 2 camps, plus half another camp. So it's a buff and 2.5 camps. I said 2 buffs and 2 camps, but it really needs to be 4 camps in total. So it doesn't need to be a buff. That was my mistake saying it that way. So now we have this. I have my smite still up, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the raptors here. Smite that. Notice I can do it pretty quickly. So at this point I can look for a gank. If I need to counter gank mid or something, I can do that. I don't have my red yet, though, so I really don't want to try to gank anything until I have my red. And then I'm going to grab my red buff. And then after this, I'm going to run to the scuttle crab. Again, if I needed to respond to a situation, I could. I'll probably pop a pot here, too. To have red buff running and a pot, I'm usually pretty healthy. So now I'm going to go to scuttle crab. And notice we're just under level 4. So by getting the second scuttle crab, we would go ahead and get our level 4. So notice I'm going to be level 4 by around 4 minutes, which is really good. And I'm going to heal a lot from this thing as well. So at this point, I could probably make a play on bot. Or I can go mid. Or, if this guy started blue side and I see him ganking top, I could probably run over here and grab his Gromp. There's a lot of different options I have here. And my smite is up again, the way I timed that out. So I can steal this and run away. The other option would be I could have just, if there was really nothing to do, I could just run back to my Krugs and take those and then back. So that's basically my plan for the red side. So let's go ahead and look at the blue side now. Alright, so now I'm on the red side of the map. We're going to look at the jungle path for this one. So remember, it's 4 camps total in order to reach level 3. I've been saying 2 buffs and 2 camps, but it's really just 4 camps total. They're all 115 experience, so it doesn't really matter what you call them, but it's 4 camps in total. I think it'd be really great if I could start the Krugs, but they don't spawn until a little later, and I'll show you. So they're not up yet. They spawn at, I think, 141, something like that. Again, I'm not going to... I think I can get away without smiting this, or I could smite it early, depending on what I want to do. So there they come. I'd actually like to save my smite for the raptor camp, so I'm going to let this charge up to 2 charges, because I think that'll help me clear stuff a little faster after I take the crab. So this gets me level 2. I'm a little low for this. I have my smite available, but I think what I want to do instead is go here and take the crab. So by this time, the enemy jungler, he'd be moving to his blue side. You have to be really careful with this one. I might even drop a ward normally, like somewhere, either here or here, just to make sure I'm not getting rushed, You just got to be really careful on this side. But if you can take this, I think it's really advantageous. I'm doing it kind of slowly, but so hopefully if he's doing his wolves there, you would be taking that while he has the wolves, or he might be ganking bot lane. So now I have smite available, and I'm level 2, so I can smite this pretty quickly. Probably should have let myself take more damage before I did that, but whatever, it works. And notice, because I let my smite charge up 2 charges, I'm actually only having to wait 13 seconds until my smite is up again. So I can either use this to smite the wolves, or I can use it to smite my blue. Either one is fine. I'm pretty healthy, so I'll probably save it for the blue buff, especially since I can take these guys pretty quickly. So right now we're at 3 camps total, so when we take the little ones, it pops our level 3. So at this point, I'm level 3, and I have a choice. I can go Grump or Scuttle Crab. I think I would just probably do a full clear here, and I can get my blue as well. Maybe I should have done the blue first, so I had that running. But now the only bad side about doing this red side is your red buff runs out quicker than if you do it on the other side, because you're obviously taking the red buff second. So that's a disadvantage of this. It makes your ganks a little weaker, because you're not going to have red buff when you're ready to gank. So just keep that in mind. I mean, if you're making the choice to do a heavy farm route to begin with, which is what I'm doing, then you're not really counting on ganks in order to make your early game. So just keep that in mind, that you're just not going to have red buff available. So now I have my E, so I can use it on this, which will help. And remember, I'm going to get a lot of health and mana back for this as well. This will give me level 4. And now, after that, I have the option to gank as usual. So I get my level 4. Now I can either go bot, I can go mid. I could, if I really wanted to, I could invade and go take his Krugs, which he's probably not going to be taking for a while. But again, this is risky, right? Because if they see me here, or if they have the Tribush warded, that's a risky play. If I went around, I could maybe come over here and take his Raptors. And, you know, because of my smite timing, I have smite up. And I'm not using it on the crab because I was able to get the reduction in armor using my E. So then I can maybe just come over here. Let's take this real quick. I'm level 4, so his level 1 Raptors are going to be easy to take. So it just gives me more options, and again, I've avoided a level 2 confrontation. So that's pretty much it. So, and then I would probably maybe look for a gank mid or something like that. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. Sorry it wasn't just like a straight up gameplay. I don't know if you guys like things like this. If you do, please leave a like or a comment and let me know what you think. I'd be glad to do some more, like, you know, calculation, math heavy stuff. You know, I know a lot of people don't really like to do that themselves. So if that's helpful to you, then let me know. I'll do more of that. But hey guys, I appreciate you watching, and hopefully this helps you as you're kind of figuring out how to jungle in patch 8.10. I don't see a lot of jungle changes coming in patch 8.11, so hopefully it won't change much, but hopefully this will help you out and you'll kind of learn a little something. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.